Good afternoon and welcome to Todd Clint's SharePoint podcast number 352, recorded live on a Tuesday, who knows why, September 5th, 2017. I am your host, Shane Young. That's right, this is one of our favorite special shows for two reasons. One, it's on a Tuesday instead of a Monday, so it's got to be more interesting. But two, Todd is not with us, right? Todd is off in Sweden, I think, doing some teaching, some SharePointy things, having a good time, and didn't care enough to join us. So instead, we are here. The good news, though, is he did send a picture of himself from Sweden. So if I am smart enough, for those of you that are on the show or the stream, the live version, whatever, the video version, if you look right there on the screen, oh, look at that. There is a selfie from Todd. He's taken about 700 since he's been there. Like every airplane he got on, every bus he's been on, the selfies have been mad, and I thought I'd share one. So, all right. So anyway, that is Mr. Clint, but I will be your host today, and my name is Shane, as you probably already knew. I'm with those bold zebra guys right back there, and if you want to get a hold of me, you can hit me up on Twitter, at Shane's Cows, hit my YouTube channel, Shane Young Cloud, right, where I have almost 250,000 views of all my PowerShell, SharePoint, Office 365 content, so a lot of fun. Also, because consulting season is coming up, remember, you can always get live one-on-one time with me and do some consulting, bold zebras. Okay, that's enough of the shameless plugging. On to production notes. Looks like episode 351 was published, and good. Funny thing about that, right, is that Todd's out of the country, so this show is going to be late. So you've already watched 351 probably 5 times because you're waiting on this show to come out. This show will probably be late. And you know that because you're listening to it now. So anyway, I will also be out for 352 next week because of I'm going on vacation. Unless that pesky Irma decides to smash Florida really bad, then I might not get to go on vacation. So let's cross our fingers. Let's hope that the disasters in Houston is enough for a while, and that somehow Irma decides to skip Florida and spare us some more hurricane damage. All right, jumping on to, this is 352. Oh, yeah, whatever. So I'll miss 353. Man, Lori's correcting me on the fly. Anyway, so big news, right? Because in reality, with the holiday, the U.S. holiday, right, it was Labor Day yesterday, kind of throws the whole news cycle off. Not a lot happened, so we're going to have to kind of scrounge. One of the most important things that happens on Labor Day every year, though, is I get older. And so I turned 40 on Sunday, the 3rd. Kind of crazy. And here, if you're on the video version, you can see a lovely picture of my front yard where my friends were kind enough to put giant cows and fake balloons and stuff in my front yard. And it says, Shane is 40. Holy cow. So it's pretty funny, pretty cute. I think my neighbors are thinking, man, when's the HOA step up and make this go away, though? Because it's been there for a few days now. And the other problem with it, though, you guys have all heard Chewy, right? He likes to show up for the show and bark. Well, good old Chewy, randomly throughout the day, will just go and bark at the signs in the front yard. If he's in the front yard of the signs, no big deal. But if he's looking out the window at the signs, he likes to bark at them. So be very sad to see those go when they do go. But anyway, Shane is now 40, and I need a haircut. My hair looks really bad today, so those of you that are watching the show, I feel bad that you have to see how hideous I look today. Or as some people would say, I probably do. Always look that bad. Anyway, jumping into news, the closest thing to news I could come up with was back a couple days ago, they announced that Excel co-authoring is now available in SharePoint Online and Office 365. Hopefully in post-production, we'll find a way to edit out my phone ringing because my wife is trying to call me. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. All right. So one of the most interesting news items I came up with here was the fact that Office 365 now does Excel co-authoring. So both SharePoint Online and OneDrive can finally open up that Excel spreadsheet and have more than one person working on it at a time, which is great news, right? Because we've had the Word co-authoring for about 1 million years. Finally, we get the ability to do some Excel co-authoring. So I don't know, the accountants of the world, the finance people that love their Excel workbooks, they're excited about that. And a lot of that really just comes from the fact that, I don't know if you missed it or not, because I don't think we talked about it on the show, but Word, Excel, PowerPoint Online, right, through SharePoint Online, they all now have autosave enabled, so there's no more of the saving functionality, no more of you have to think about saving the file when you're done, which is good and makes sense feature, but the fact that they kind of worked out all the kinks there is what enabled them to do this for Excel. I'm guessing what you'll probably see next is some PowerPoint co-authoring. I don't think PowerPoint Online does co-authoring today, but don't quote me on that one. It's been a long time since I've had to make PowerPoints with someone else. So that's exciting stuff. Also on the news front, Windows 10 Fall Creators Updates coming out October 17th. That was just announced a couple days ago also. And so, it'll be fun. The next iteration of Windows. Looking through the features, they've updated inking, they've updated security, they've updated, how to play with photos and 3D stuff. Not too much. Looks like the OneDrive files on demand that Todd's always oohing and ahhing on, looks like that'll all get rolled out, across the board at that update as well. They've also, with the update, they keep pushing, I don't know, maybe I'm reading my news in the wrong places, but keep pushing, more of the personal features. And so one of them is the Xbox Play Anywhere games are now going to be fully supported on the Windows 10 Fall Creators Update. So the idea that, you could take something like, I think it's like Forza was one of them, right? Some of these Xbox One games and go and play them locally on your PC and on your Xbox and kind of move back and forth. Be kind of a cool experience. It is interesting though, right? In theory, they're creating competition for their Xbox One or the new Xbox, I forget what the name of the fancy one's coming out, right? There's a new one coming out in November, but it'll have some of these Play Anywhere games also. So they're expanding the ecosystem. That's always good, but it's always going to be a mixed bag, right? I'm sure there's lots of strife over who's going to do what. Also with the Windows 10 Fall Creators Update, and I'd like to point out that the fall of what, right? Fall of 2017, or we have a, next year this time will it be the autumn update because they don't want to use the word fall again, or will it be like Todd's favorite scenario where they call it the new version and they just keep calling it the new version. So you like, is this the new version or the old new version? It always upsets Todd when people name things like that. So I'm saving him the grief for that one. But also in this release, they're going to push out Windows Mixed Reality. And so if you're not too familiar with it, and I wasn't before I went and did some reading this morning, but Windows Mixed Reality is kind of what Microsoft's calling their all-up bundle, if you will, of virtual reality and augmented reality kind of intersecting, which makes a lot of sense because, from my point of view, I don't see virtual reality as anything more than a gimmick. I don't know, I could be wrong. But augmented reality, it has some real practical purposes. And augmented reality being that difference that you take like what you're looking at in front of you. So you take your car and you put on the glasses and you get augmented reality and you can see all the moving parts inside the car and you could, kind of work through where do things go and that type of stuff. It's really great demos with HoloLens where they're kind of walking around the room and showing like new pictures on the wall and stuff, which on the surface seems really lame, right? Who cares? I can change the picture through my HoloLens, but it's showing you the capabilities to move forward. So anyway, with the mixed reality stuff, in the creators update, they're going to release a bunch of new headsets at the same time that start at $299. And so this is their idea that they're going to kind of start to move the ball forward by making these, not requiring a $2,000 PC to do mixed reality, but being able to take your existing PC, slap on a $300 headset, and now you've got this mixed reality. So that'll be pretty cool. Also with the mixed reality, they're going to support, if you don't have one of the headsets, you could use your PC camera, and point it at your coworkers and then, do an augmented reality of them, Should be kind of interesting to see where the world goes with it. But I thought that was a pretty cool thing. I was sad I hadn't read more about mixed reality before, but it looks like, October 17th when it rolls out, the hardware is going to be affordable and we might finally take that first leap forward that, Pokemon Go showed us all how exciting it could be. Speaking of Pokemon Go, do any of you still play that? I mean, I don't know any adults that do, but man, my 5-year-old is still obsessed with that game. Like, it's really the only reason he likes his mom. Don't tell her I said that. But, he'll be like, oh, I want to go with mommy. And then as soon as he gets to the car with her, he's like, Mommy, can I have your phone so I can play Pokemon Go? Right? Because it doesn't work on their iPads or iPods very well because they don't have cell phone, GPS and all that fun stuff. So he really needs her iPhone to do it. So that's one of those ways to get your kids love. It looks like Lori in the chat room is saying that she still plays a little Pokemon Go. So good to know. But anyway, Windows 10 Fall Creator Update coming October 17th. More details, I'm sure, as we get closer. Because other big question, depending on where you were at in the Windows cycle, it took months for some people to get the first update that came out back in, I think, April or May of this year. Because they kind of did that trickle out, rollout effect, right? Instead of having the whole world download a 500 gig update all at once. So it'll be interesting to see how long it takes the October update and if they kind of change that process this time around. So, all right. Let's see. What other fun things? Other news, China banned initial coin offerings. If you haven't heard of ICOs or initial coin offerings before, this is this idea of people launching Bitcoin style currencies, right? So it's cryptocurrencies in a, in a public offering. So saying, hey, we're going to launch this new tech based on this new type of Bitcoin, right? We'll call them Shane coins. And, for $500 million, you can buy $1 billion worth of Shane Bitcoins. Turns out that the China regulators like, that seems kind of scammy to us, and we don't have it regulated yet. There's no real reporting process, so you guys are going to stop doing that, and those of you that just recently did it, you're going to give all the money back. So I actually agree with them, right? I think it's a little early for unregulated initial coin offerings to run wild. I can tell you, though, the crypto markets, though, they have just been upset, right? I think Ethereum, whatever it is, it was down 8% when I looked. Bitcoin was down 5%. So the Bitcoin cryptocurrency market's taken that news pretty hard. I think it's this idea that, rules are here, and the more rules, right? The more regulators look at it, the more they're going to want a piece of the pie. They're going to start, wanting different, resources or different regulations to be applied to those coins. The same way that we have with currency, right? I mean, I can't go to the bank and take out $100,000 in cash and, just go and disappear with it, right? Without filling out a bunch of paperwork. Because the IRS wants to know where that 100K goes. And probably my local DEA agents want to know where that 100,000 goes as well. And the ATF and every other body and their brother, right? The SEC. So what happens is, cryptocurrency, a lot of their popularity has been the anonymity, very easy for me to say, of the transactions, but also this fact that it wasn't really regulated, right? You could move $1 million of Bitcoins around and no one knew. No one could say anything, right? The Uncle Sam was not up in your business over that. But I think the writing's on the wall that Uncle Sam is coming, and the Chinese were just the first one to fire a shell that's saying, hey, all these shenanigans with this stuff, it's time to get those under control. So it'll be interesting. Wife and I were joking the other day. I remember when Bitcoin got to like $200 and I was like, that's so dumb. Who would ever spend their money there? Yeah, those, I think last time I looked, it was in the 4,000. So probably should have bought some Bitcoin at $200, but, what do you do? All right. Speaking of Microsoft tech, one of the things that my kids are real big into, and I'm guessing if you've got kids of any age, really, right? YouTube is really the thing these days. My kids don't really watch TV. They don't care about Nickelodeon or any of that stuff. They'll watch it if we force them to. Yeah, mean parents, go watch Nickelodeon. But really, they want to watch YouTube, right? They want to watch Dan TDM or Stampy Cat or Dude Perfect, who Dude Perfect now has a Nickelodeon show, ironically enough. But the kids are really big in the YouTube, and what they like to do a lot of times is watch these guys play video games, right? So, I was walked in the living room the other day, and the kids were watching Stampy play Splatoon 2, watching him just shoot paintballs at people. I mean, it was literally like, I could do that, guys. Other than I don't have a cool accent, I don't go, hello, this is Stampy Cat. Right? I can't do that. But anyway, so my kids have wanted to do for the longest time was actually be their own YouTube stars, right? And if you ask my second grader, he's like, I want to be a YouTube star when I grow up. I'm like, well, that's good, I guess. But so he'd been riding me for a while, and so finally I decided to help him figure out how could he push his gameplay out to YouTube, So if you start looking in the beginning, it's like, man, you need, all these converter cards. And you got to be able to, stream this to this and hook up this. I mean, a lot of hardware and a lot of pain in daddy's butt to get it out there, which is what I was not looking forward to. But then I started looking a little harder, and with the Xbox One, they've now included as part of that Mixer, right? So Microsoft Mixer is Microsoft's streaming service, if you will, for doing things like this show. And the nice thing about their service is the lag time is like 1 second, maybe 2 seconds. I've messed with it quite a bit, whereas the show here is like 45 seconds. But anyway, Microsoft's embedded all that tech into my Xbox. So now you can literally go into your Xbox One, and once you've set it all up, go into a game and just say start broadcast, and it just starts pushing your gameplay straight out to Microsoft Mixer in a live stream. And then if you've got the Kinect involved, you can say enable the microphone and enable the camera. And so with almost zero work, I was able to get my kids up and broadcasting on the internet. Now, whether or not you think it's a good idea that my kids are posting their gameplay out to the internet, that's a different conversation for a different day. I see the ups and downs of that. The good news is they're doing it all through my account. So it's my, if the creepy old dude that wants to, talk to kids starts messaging them, he's going to be messaging me. And I'm a creepy old dude too. So we'll have a great creepy old dude conversation about it all. So I'm not too worried about my kids getting hunted down or stalked through the Microsoft Mixer today. But, it would be something to consider if your kids are doing it through their own accounts and they have that type of control. But I'm not here for parental guidance. I was just really impressed at how far the tech had come. And I literally clicked, 7 or 8 buttons after creating my Microsoft Mixer account. Did the Microsoft Mixer account through the PC. And then afterwards, going to the Xbox, it was a seamless experience to configure it, and then it's so easy to starting broadcast. Pressed a couple buttons and boom, there it went. Lori's now asking me how does she stalk my kids through Mixer. So Lori, we'll trade some notes later on how to get on there and see all that. But it was pretty interesting. And if your kids are wanting to do it, right, because that's the other problem I had with it. While it was a pain in my butt trying to figure out how to get them so they could stream their stuff on YouTube, I didn't want to stop my kid, right? My kid wants to figure that stuff out. I can't hold him back, right? It'd be like telling my other kids, right? You can't use your iPad because it's bad for you. But if they want to engage and learn that type of tech and they want to be nerds like that, then I want to kind of help them learn. And I guess the other thing I should point out, because I keep talking about YouTube, but then saying Microsoft Mixer. So what I figured out was with Microsoft Mixer, I can stream it out there and I can say save my videos, and it'll save my videos for 7 days by default. But so I can then go and download that file, pull it into Camtasia, edit it, put on the headers and the footers and all that stuff, and then push it out to YouTube, which is the more popular platform right now. But actually produce the video correctly instead of it just being a recording and my kids going, yeah, woo, woo, boo, 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 boo. But the kids have had a lot of fun with it. So I'm definitely into it. I'm all about, finding safe ways for them to continue to learn and do as much tech stuff now as they can, because it's the reality, right? My youngest, right? So he's a kindergartner now. He's never not had a device. He got his first iPad at 2, which I'm a bad parent. I get it. You can make fun of me later, but that child has never had a moment in his life he can remember where he wasn't able to operate and do technology through things like an iPad, right? Him and his older brother, they figured out how to connect their iPads so they could play Minecraft together. I had nothing to do with it. They figured it out. It's pretty awesome to see. So I'm just kind of fostering, and helping them learn the tech, trying to make them as safe as possible. We've talked before about like the Disney Circle to block out, bad websites and that type of stuff, and to limit some of their time on the devices, but trying to move that forward. All right, what else do I got here? All right, so then PowerShell tip here. So earlier, right, a few shows ago, we talked about my whole PowerShell script, add BZ file share to SharePoint Online. Right, it was 400 or 500 lines of PowerShell that takes and moves your SharePoint Online content, your local files up to SharePoint Online, takes the metadata with them for you. So I've had a few customers buy it, and this latest one, they've got about 160,000 files. Still not sure it's going to work for them, but we're going to keep trying. But with her, version, she had some problems and it died kind of through the process. So I went back and tried to figure out how to add functionality to skip existing files or edited files, that type of stuff. And in that process, though, one of the things I was having problems with was there was a difference between C:data, the folder, if the C was lowercase, versus C:data if the C was uppercase. Because PowerShell, all of its like relative paths that it stores, that C: is always capital C. But I was accepting input in either lowercase or uppercase C. And if you did lowercase c, then the matching wasn't happening, so then it was overwriting the files again. It was a little messy. Real easy for me to say. Not messy, the soccer move that my kid likes to do. But anyway, so I was like, well, man, I got to figure out how to fix that. So I ended up spending at least 15 minutes, probably more, doing a bunch of string manipulation to say, all right, if the string has a semicolon in the second spot, right? So it's C: or E: or any of those, then get the first letter and then take that and convert it to upper and then write it back. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of index of, replace with substrings and then to upper. It was gnarly stuff, but I got it to work. It was pretty excited. It was a lot of fun. And, so Jeff Hicks is in the chat room, right? Or resident PowerShell genius who is insulted by every time I speak about PowerShell. Sorry, Jeff. But so I was originally, he just told me, hey, why don't you just use upper to normalize everything? That's a great question because I originally was using toUpper to normalize the whole string. The problem with that was when I did toUpper and did all my work, it worked, everything that took care of all the issues I was having. But when I was writing the folders out to SharePoint Online, then the folder names were coming across in uppercase, and that was upsetting her. That was actually one of the complaints from the customer. So that's why I had to go back and get rid of the toUppers, and then that's when I figured out that the whole reason I was using toUpper was to deal with lowercase c versus uppercase c. So that's why I had to do the chaos. So blah, 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 lots of time spent. And so then I step back and I go, this seems like a common problem. And it turns out it is. And in reality, there is a wonderful default PowerShell commandlet called convert-path. And all convert-path really does is takes whatever garbage you fed it and types it or updates it into a normalized, correct syntax, correct capitalized version of it. So for example, if you pass // file name and you do convert path, it'll change it to, C: folder / file name. So it gets rid of that weird notation. So that way you don't have to worry about, whether something like add PNP file understands the dot notation or not. So convert path, all I had to do was take the string C, lowercase c: / data, pass it to convert path, and it just made it C uppercase, which I was already doing for some of the other scenarios. So it was really annoying. It also works on UNC pass. It is a great little tool. I just didn't use it the first time. So just keep that in mind. Convert path is a wonderful little tool that is easy to use. It's often forgot about by people like me who aren't really doing. Also, Jeff, when we were chatting before the show, because he likes to mock how terrible I am at PowerShell, which who blames him? Sounds like fun. Todd does it a lot too. But he also pointed out to me there is a commandlet called join path. And so join path is when you got to take, C: folder and then add on to that folder 2, right? And so normally what we have to do, or normally what I do is go and check for slashes, remove all the slashes, and then combine them by adding a slash because that way I'm controlling it. Oh, very manual, very tedious process. Jeff pointed out that you can just do join path, C: folder, and then, new subfolder, and it'll take care of all the slashing around for you. So, very good stuff. So I appreciate Jeff's help on that. One day I'm going to show him the 400 lines of PowerShell. I keep hoping he's going to buy it for $99 just to mock me, but I don't think he's going to spend that much money to mock me. But one day I'm going to show him all of it just so he can cry. A little of him will probably die on the inside. I'll make sure he's, his blood pressure medicine's been taken ahead of time. I wouldn't want to kill the poor guy, but no, I appreciate Jeff. He's very helpful in just pointing out the blatantly obvious to me and only doing it in a slightly condescending fashion, when in reality, you should probably do it in a really condescending tone. All right. Last thing that would make anyone really have a hard time is a couple weeks ago I also got to teach my first college class. So University of Cincinnati is offering a SharePoint Online or SharePoint and Office 365 Microsoft Cloud class, which is written and taught by yours truly. First time we offered it, no one signed up, so it got cut. The second time, 2 people signed up, so I get to teach it one time, and then they decided to drop it. So I'm still waiting on get to teach a class whole way through, but I did get to go, show up, stand in front of the room, be like, yeah, I'm Professor Young, take that, and teach my my first class. So that was pretty exciting. So just a little personal excitement for me there. The good news is they came to their senses though and realized that having me teach was probably bad. All right, promotion time. So one's gone, right? Because Todd's out doing some sessions this week. But Microsoft Ignite, September 25th through the 29th, Todd will be there. He's doing a couple of SharePoint admin sessions. He will also be doing the podcast live from there. And if we can get technology to cooperate, I'll just come in remotely and it'll just be like every other show, other than Todd will be cool at Tech Ed and I'll be, or not Tech Ed, it's called Ignite now. But Todd will be there and I'll be here, sad face that I'm not at Ignite. So then we've got the Thrive Conference. Todd will be doing that in Slovenia, November 8th and 9th. More SharePoint all the time. Woohoo. And then finally, as a special thank you to Mr. Hicks, Jeff will be speaking at the Live 360 event in Orlando, Florida this year. So I think that is in January. So anyway, I thought since Jeff has been so helpful today and he was persevering through the show without too much whining about me talking about him, that we'd give him a plug too. So if you're want to go see, I think it's one of the Tech Mentor events, Jeff will be down there in Orlando. So pretty awesome. All right, well, I think that's it. Hopefully I do not see you guys next week, and I am in Florida golfing. But like I said, we'll see what the hurricane does and go from there. So, and apparently I'm wrong. Jeff's event is in November, not in Orlando or in January. I don't know where you got January from. So, sorry. Jeff will be at Live 360 event in Orlando in November. So, there you go. All right. So I guess with that, I'll bid you adieu and say thanks and have a great day.